Hi there, Justino. My name is Ellen, and I will be correcting these essays for you. Let's take a look straight away at what you have written here. The first one is about schools and if they should educate only or if they should entertain as well. Let's see what you said. A number of people consider schools as institutions purposed exclusively for teaching, whereas others suggest schoolrooms should be more enjoyable places. I believe educational institutions should offer more engaging learning programs in order to improve socialization of children and promote their effectiveness. Okay. Um, that's pretty good. Grammatically, everything is correct. So great. Uh, I have one concern that I want to address with you. You know that IELTS never really directly tests vocabulary, but they do test it indirectly all the time. So one thing that they're checking here is your understanding of the word entertaining. Okay. Now, I find that a lot of people like using the word engaging as a synonym. They're really not. So one thing you may want to do is see how these words are different, how something can be engaging but not be entertaining, and how something can be entertaining but not engaging. So I understand the temptation, and engaging is a great word when we're talking about education, but I'm not 100% convinced that it's an appropriate synonym for entertaining. Okay. So, my next question to you is, what do you mean promote their effectiveness? Whose effectiveness? The effectiveness of educational institutions or the effectiveness of children? Or the effectiveness of programs. So I was confused by this. I didn't know whose effectiveness we were promoting, and I didn't really understand that expression. So this is one of those places where you have to be a little cautious about your pronouns. Offer more engaging learning programs in order to improve socialization and promote their effectiveness. Yeah, I didn't really understand that. And how do you promote effectiveness exactly? So it was a sentence for me that was good grammatically, but vocabulary wise, it could have been a little stronger. Okay. All right, let's keep going because we spent quite a bit of time with your introduction. Let's keep going to your body paragraphs now. Firstly, boredom has always been the central problem of one's productivity, especially at schools. This is because repetitive and monotonous learning atmosphere. A repetitive and monotonous learning atmosphere results in lack of interest among young generations. The combination of educational and entertaining elements show the potential of education in combination with entertainment to promote critical thinking, increase engagement, and mindset growth. Therefore, as more and more children are having the same problem in their schools, having a school entertainment can quickly reduce their boredom. Okay, so let's talk about this paragraph. We're going to break it down sentence by sentence. Boredom has always been the problem of productivity. This doesn't really feel very natural to me. Okay, so how can I explain this? What are you saying that, oh, there's a problem with productivity and that problem is boredom? It doesn't really make sense. Okay. So you could say that boredom reduces productivity, or maybe boredom has always been a threat to student productivity. Okay. Maybe that would have been a little more better word here to say that boredom threatens productivity. Okay. Uh, okay. And then we fixed that grammatical missing the A here, and then the rest was fine. Now, here, this sentence for me had a number of issues. So let's talk about them. The combination between educational and entertaining elements shows, because it's the combination, shows the potential of these two to promote critical thinking, engagement. Okay. So What am I trying to do? I feel like you're repeating yourself. You're telling me that the combination of these two shows the potential of them, or rather shows their potential to promote critical thinking, increase engagement. So I'm trying to make it a little more cohesive so that you're not repeating yourself. But even when I do that, you find that the sentence is really kind of empty in terms of meaning. So again, let's kind of break it down to its essence one more time. You're telling us that the combination of educational and entertaining elements shows their potential to promote critical thinking, etc., etc. That doesn't really make sense. So the essential elements of this sentence really should say the combination of educational and entertaining elements have the potential to promote critical thinking and increased engagement and mindset growth. All right, so that's really what you want to say here. The rest of the language, all of that, like in this here and then here in the second line, all that is not helping you. It's just extra language without meaning. So we've broken it down to really the core of what the message should be, and that's what you want to stick to. You don't want extra words that just muddle the meaning. Okay? Then, great. So we have this sentence, it makes sense. The problem is now that you didn't support this. Okay, you told us that there's potential to do these things, but you never actually supported it. You didn't tell me how it promotes critical thinking. You didn't tell me how it promotes increased engagement or how mindset grows with this. Okay, and that's a missed opportunity, number one, to develop your topic, which is going to help you in task achievement. Because without supporting your arguments, you're looking at no more than a band 6. Okay, even at a band 6, you need to have some support. But you also are missing an opportunity to show some really nice language. No, and show a better vocabulary range and some grammar as well. Okay, and so since you talked about these 3 things, you need to have something like that. So you could have said something like, recent studies from Harvard University show that students whose classrooms combined entertainment with education score 60% better on psychometric tests, or scored 70% better on school leaving exams, or there's lots of stuff you could do here. Or you could say that they, I don't know, excelled in later grades of school. I mean, there's a ton of stuff you could say to support it. But the point is that when you make a statement like this, you absolutely need to tell us how, you need to tell us why. Okay? When you assert something like this, you got to back it up with something. Okay? All right, let's see the next paragraph. Secondly, from our perspectives, who is our? Secondly, there is little social interaction taking place in many of today's classrooms from kindergarten through college. This is due to the fact that those children can be sitting in the same room together all day without having proper interaction, get rid of the A, with each other because of the workload, single. So a couple things here. I didn't understand this from our perspectives, and I don't understand why it's plural. And then you had some problems with articles here. Okay. Yeah, so proper interaction without the A, and then here no S. For instance, having a trip going somewhere nice would be a great helper to know each other and eventually bring them closer. It strengthens their bond as students, as well their respect for the teachers. Consequently, social interaction such as meaningful dialogue among learners is vital to the learning process. All right, the last sentence is good. I'm glad that you have some support here, which gives us a nice tangible example, but we do have to work on this sentence a little bit. So let's talk about how. So for instance, taking a field trip, that's what we usually call them in school. So taking a field trip somewhere. I don't like this somewhere nice. I don't really like that because, first of all, the word nice is so elementary and it's so imprecise that it doesn't really help. Um, so either leave it out, or you could say somewhere educational or somewhere engaging or somewhere, captivating even. Okay. So for instance, taking a field trip somewhere would be a great help for students to get to know each other. Okay, because you say to know each other. Who to know each other? I mean, obviously, we can figure out that you mean students, but grammatically, there is no indication here for us to know who is knowing each other. Okay, so for instance, taking a field trip somewhere would be a great help for students to get to know each other and could eventually bring them closer. All right, you do want this could here. It's called hedging. You're saying that there's a possibility, but you're not trying to be absolute about this, that, there's also a possibility that it wouldn't. Okay. You do have to leave that kind of margin of error in there. Okay. And then it could strengthen their bond as students, as well as, you're missing a second as here, as well as their respect for their teachers. Now, here I'd like to know why. All right, so you have this great example. Tell me why it does these things. Okay, again, it's this issue of support. And then the last sentence was nice. All right, to conclude from the examples and arguments given, I firmly believe that education and entertainment frequently intersect, and when they do, we can enjoy the best of both worlds, such as rich delights and profound learning. Okay, fine. I mean, you got some nice vocabulary here. Intersect, I firmly believe, rich delights, profound learning. I don't know if I really love this, only because I don't know how relevant it is to what you talked about. But, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, it was, some nice collocation here. It was a nice collocation. So, sure. Okay, so you should have an idea, just, about what was strong in this essay. There was good organization of your paragraphs. You included some elements that you needed, but there were some issues in terms of developing the topic, some vocabulary, and some small grammar things. Okay, let's take a look now at your second topic about doing an enjoyable activity with a child. Let's see. All right, let's see. You got 1, 2. Okay. Measures that have beneficial impacts on children's growth are discussed by most parents nowadays. Although reading is one of the effective methods, I subscribe to the notion that playing pleasurable activities with children is a better approach for them to learn skills and cultivate their creativity. This essay will discuss this issue using examples from Harvard University and Japan government to demonstrate points and support arguments. Okay. I liked a lot of this, actually. This was really rather good. I'll tell you what needed just some small adjustments. We don't really use impact in the plural very often. We prefer it in the singular. So measures that have a beneficial impact on children's growth are discussed by most parents nowadays. Okay. And I liked this. I subscribe to the notion that, etc. I like that. Didn't like this, playing pleasurable activities, because you don't really play an activity, you do an activity. Okay. So that would have been better. So doing pleasurable activities with children is a better approach for them to learn skills and cultivate their creativity. So that was good. It was just the word playing here that was a problem. And then we don't say Japan government, we say the Japanese government. Okay. So those little things, but other than that, it was quite good. Okay, let's continue. So to begin with, unlike reading, joyful activities involved in interaction, cultivate a child's numerous skills. All right, here I'm a little confused. You could probably even sense that I hesitated. What do you mean, joyful activities involved in interaction? I don't really understand this as an expression. It's a little unclear. Um, so yeah, that's a little bit of a problem. And then this too is a little strange. Cultivate a child's numerous skills. That doesn't really make sense. You're gonna have to say it a little differently. So cultivate numerous skills in children, or let's say cultivate a variety of, yeah, you could have said that too. But I also want to, I don't want to say a child's numerous skills or variety of a child. It just sounds strange when you put the possessive childs like that. So we want to rephrase it to something like cultivate numerous skills in a child. Maybe something like that would be okay. Such exercises in, all right, I don't know what's going on here. Such exercises, comma, including team sports or multiplayer puzzle solving games, not only need children to achieve targets by cooperation, but also require them to organize and express their thoughts, therefore improving their skills of oral communication and teamwork. For example, lowercase r. Recent studies from Harvard show that minors who played basketball and football at a young age can show more confidence when giving public speeches and better lead a team to finish group studies. In contrast, one can read a book alone without any contact with others. Thus, the above skills cannot be enhanced by reading. Okay. I really liked that you showed where reading falls short. I thought that was a very smart thing to do, because you gave this comparison, and that's important. You do want to talk about the activity that you think can develop a skill, and I think it was a very good idea to show how reading cannot accomplish that. So I like the way you did that. Let's see. So I want to make sure that everything else in terms of task achievement was good. So let me just do a quick run through of this to make sure that everything makes sense. Okay. So cooperation, express their thoughts, great oral communication. And then kids who did this were better at public speech and better led a team. Perfect. Okay. Yeah. So I thought it was a very, very good paragraph in terms of task achievement. Little things that I already talked about, but other than that, I thought it was good. All right. On top of that, reading may not be better than engaging in other enjoyable activities as a form of developing minors' creativity. In fact, many people agree that the best way to nurture a creative child is to encourage one to use imagination and create something new. According to research from the Japanese government, for instance, many Japanese artists reveal that their parents usually encourage them to draw, play instruments, or even build freestyle, get rid of the S, Lego buildings without any limits during their childhood, which kindle their inspiration to be art creators. On the contrary, reading might not be able to achieve the same outcome since it is all about receiving the existing information instead of inventing. Great. I like this. I think it was good. I don't love on the contrary. I think you've used it incorrectly. Usually we would say here in contrast. On the contrary is used differently, okay? So if you're not sure about how to use it, definitely look it up, see how and when we use it. But in contrast would have been better here. In conclusion, due to the aforementioned examples, I firmly believe that involving a child in entertaining and playful activities instead of reading can develop superior skills and make the youngster more creative. Actually, it can be predicted that such a manner of parenting would become a popular trend in the future. Okay, great. I would change two things here. I would change actually, just get rid of it. It sounds like you're talking to somebody, so it doesn't really feel appropriate for an essay. And I also didn't like the would. So you could just make this a little simpler and say, it is predicted that such a manner of parenting will become a popular trend in the future. That's a better way of doing it in this context again, okay? All right, so Justino, I'm happy with your first set of essays. I think you're definitely off to a good start. Of the two, I certainly feel that this essay was stronger. you developed better, your task achievement felt to me much stronger. It was a well developed essay. You did a couple of things in this essay that made me really, really happy. You you understood that you were supposed to talk about creativity in one paragraph. You understood that you were just supposed to talk about skills in another paragraph. And then you talked both about the activity and reading. And so you covered all of those elements. And I thought that was a great thing to do. Okay. So little things though. All right. Like I said, your other task was a little weaker, so that needed more work. I want you to go ahead and correct them both, return them to us corrected, and of course, send us a new set of essays along with the corrected essays. Don't forget to work on your error correction list so you can keep track of the mistakes you're making and ensure that you are not repeatedly making the same ones. And let's meet back here with that next set of essays, okay? I'm looking forward to it, so good luck to you.